Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our live stream tonight. Hopefully everyone's doing okay and doing well. Apologies for not making it to our question time or podcast this week. So I'll give you a reason why. So yesterday, about an hour before the question time, after eating dinner, I threw it all up. I was I was hunched over a toilet, coughing up my guts for most of the evening. So that wasn't nice. And then the Tuesday, I found out my father, who had a heart attack, and he was in hospital. So I drove up to go see him, and I didn't get back till quite late. And it was quite a trying day. He had a heart attack. He had a surgery today. I've spoken to him. He's all okay, so that's all good. But yeah, that was a thing that happened this week. It's been a busy week of stuff going on. But welcome tonight. Tonight was going to be an actual playtest of the game with you folks in the audience, but because of all the things that's happened this week, it's going to kind of fallen back and like, okay, well, partly why I wanted to do a playtest of Mimic is to get feedback and focus group a few design things that I'm tossing and turning about how to solve. So hopefully with your input, we can get to some solutions around that, and see what people think. So yeah, hopefully you all turn on your game designer brains and let us think about the I'm having about some aspects of this. But first of all, let's talk a bit about some of the changes I've been making. Let me jump over into the game. Okay, so some big changes. First of all, I have rewritten pretty much all of the Android NPCs AI. So I won't dive into what we've done because it's going to be part of a subject of a talk that I'll be hosting later this year at hopefully at Develop. Waiting for confirmation on it, but I'd like to talk a bit about what we've done on that at the event, and we'll share the recording of it on the channel as well at the time. So yeah, looking forward to sharing the cool stuff we've been doing with the AI to make it more realistic, not realistic, but more intense. Yeah, we wanted to make it. It's not all about making something realistic. It's about making something that's going to be fun for the game, and increase that intensity. And that was a big draw of that. So that was a big rewrite there. The other thing I've been working on is the voting mechanic. So a big part of the game in Mimic is that you don't have direct way to deal damage to people. Okay, so a bit what you do is you vote, and you, as you previously had to do, was vote on other players, and whoever has the most votes, the Android NPC will go chasing after them to kill them. The problem this came through playtesting was that people weren't interacting with that system much. It was a bit too complex. It wasn't intuitive enough. So I wanted to make it a bit more intuitive, a bit more simpler, and so I redesigned it somewhat. So let me demonstrate what it does now differently, and then we can get started on some stuff. Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so wait for the players to come up. Let's see if we can do this and streaming at the same time. We'll see. Okay. So that'll disappear. It's struggling to run both. There we go. Right, so you'll see another player in the game, okay, walking around, and now to, you can see there's a 264 and default name at the bottom. Let me actually go control this one. Oh yeah, ignore the dummy one that pops up. So at the bottom now, there's this little bar, and the way you do it is you ping. So much like Apex Legends or other multiplayer games where you can ping the environment to highlight to people, this also solves another problem I wanted to do, which was if people didn't want to talk on a microphone, how could they communicate and indicate that there's something to be taken notice of? And so started working on a ping system, and part of that ping system is if you were to ping a player, you see a little, I call it the sus meter. So the sus meter at the bottom of the screen starts growing. Okay. In that moment I can spam it, but you won't be able to do that in a sec. We're going to work on that. And as you can see, it depletes over time. So if someone gets more sus, it's just going to keep going up and up and up. But yeah, you can ping people in the scene to build up that sus meter around. And conversely, the other player can do the same thing to try and override it. And the only being is whoever's the highest bar, that's the android's target. Yeah. So that's happened there. And I think that is quite nice. I think it's a nice solution to that. And it'd be quite interesting to see that go up and down. The downside this has, though, is that players have to be in line of sight of other players to be able to throw sus on them. And logically speaking, it's as if let me turn down turn that down a little bit. Logically speaking, it's like as if they're pointing fingers at other players. Okay, so that's what they're doing. And so they can point their finger at other players to throw sus on them, and the android will go to attack that person. But it doesn't help if you're not in the map and you can't see who is there. So there might be another mechanic we have to put in there at some point. I don't know what, to allow you to vote remotely, you know. Oh yeah, there's a big hitbox with gamepad stuff. Yeah, we'll figure that out with the gamepad solution. But generally speaking, players don't move that fast, so it shouldn't be too hard to catch them, and they don't know you've pinged them. So if you're with another person and you see your name popping up, well, it can only be the only other person voting for you. Yeah, but if there's a group of you and you see your name going up, you can then have a discussion, bitch fight about who done that. Yeah. So we're trying to cultivate those sort of social moments where players are going to be angry with each other. Okay. Another big change, well, not big change, but a little tweak we've been working on as well is the sprinting mechanic. So all we've done basically is make it so the sprint completes a lot faster, because it found that you could just sprint for a long time and it'll be fine. But sprinting is more like a burst. You can only do it for like a few seconds, and then you are limited. And yeah, it just depletes a lot faster than it had done before. Okay. And if you're exhausted, it takes longer for it to return. And obviously, as if you've watched the game being developed over the years, the stamina bar is also the health bar. So as you take damage, you'll lose a section of that bar, and you'll be able to run less. Okay, so if you're weak, you can't do it. So you can heal yourself. You can go to a heal first aid box and heal yourself. But yeah. Can I see who else is targeting who? If I am player 1, can I see player 2 targeting player 3? No, it's all anonymous. Maybe that's an option we can add in later and think about, okay, we can make things less anonymous and maybe have a toggle. Players can just turn off and on.
Collision imminent. Evacuate immediately.
Oh yeah, the timer. So yeah. Is voting in intervals or constantly throughout the game? The list of players on the left could be used to set your vote. So it is always through the game. So the thing we had to avoid with it is because, like, if you look at Among Us, for example, Among Us is in intervals. Okay, So as soon as the dead body is found, people vote on who they suspect killed it. The problem with that is if we're going for a horror element, we can't just interrupt the tension like that. That becomes a bit problematic because then you lose all tension immediately, and then you go back into it. So you want to get rid of the little round based feeling of the game. So it is throughout the game. You can do it at any point. There is a cooldown on the ping, but there will be a cooldown on the ping. But yeah, that's that element there. As for the list of players on the left, can be used to select your vote. That's how it was done originally. So that was the original thing, is that you use your scroll wheel to scroll up and down, and then you hit the button to ping them. Yeah. But I guess we want to do remotely. We could do a thing maybe, because there is an element of the... And let me just take off multiplayer. Don't need multiplayer now. Like this. There is the element of the tablet players have for their map. So wait for that to disappear. And so you bring up a tablet, which has your map on it, and we could have a thing on that, for example, that could bring something up for the players to select other players or something, or it could be a station inside the level that you can, like a computer station you can go onto. But the map, this is probably the more favored option because it is accessible to you anywhere. So yeah, there could be the solution to that, but yeah. Yeah, the tablet's quite cool, and it works as well. Like the rooms light up when you're in the map, obviously. So depending on if there's life signs in there, that might be quite cool. So yeah, that's working on that. Besides that, I've been experimenting with other things. I've been using contextual animation scenes to solve a lot of animation issues, and that's worked out amazingly. And we get actual interaction with the androids better. Here, I was experimenting with three-dimensional puzzles. So you'd actually click and drag the wire and plug it all in. And this is something I think I like. It's a little bit difficult to get the controls working, and it'd be harder to translate to a gamepad. But it's a TBD on whether that will make it to the game. But there's like, so rewiring, you would have to do like, these will be shut off. You have to reroute the cables so they connect one end to the other. You can see me experimenting with different things, doing stuff in his. But yeah, this is my experimental playground where I make stuff and just test things out. Also, big change is we've got third-person, true first-person animation, so you can see ourselves in the scene. This was just to make it so we could do some interesting things with the hands. So we could do things like put more hands up in front of you, and like block things, and do some interesting. Yeah, so you could do more stuff with that. So I thought that'd be more interesting to do. So we've got first person animation. Yeah. What's your goal of the game? Okay, yeah, so that's all right, mate. But yeah, the goal is the game. So let me actually go to the actual map so we can actually see what the map looks like if you've never seen Mimic before. So Icarus. So the idea of the game is that there are 5 of you. 3 of you are players, one's a Mimic and one's the agent. And the goal of the game is to leave the ship. Okay. And to do that, you have to complete 3 randomized objectives. And work together to complete those objectives. Okay, so you all work together to the same objectives. Okay, and then you launch the shuttle and get off the ship. But if the Mimic escapes with you as the player, the Mimic's another player. If they escape, they win. If you escape as a crew member without the Mimic, you win. And then the agent, that's something we're going to discuss today. And I want to focus group it and see what you guys think, because I feel like I want to do more with the agent role and because at the moment, cause originally their plan, the way they won was they made sure no one won the game. okay, and they are the only ones that left the ship. But it's too difficult. Like there's a lot to do, and especially when you have that to fight back, it becomes very, very tricky. Okay, so I have floated a few ideas about how to solve that, which we're going to get your opinion on today and see what you like the most on. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I should really turn off this collision renderer. Hold on. Let me. Oh, okay, it's doing shaders. I haven't gone into the map for a while, so it's doing all the shader stuff. Yeah, there's an android NPC walking around that you can use as your weapon. You don't have one yourself. You have to use him by either luring the people or voting people, as you saw me describe. We'll just wait for that to come up. I've forgotten the command to hide the renderer of the or collision. Let me just type in just draw collision, because I think it was something like that. No. Ew. I can't remember what it was. Hang on. I should show collision. Oh. Yep. Okay. I was doing that because I was testing. What was I testing? Yeah, I do it the other day, and I just never got around to turning it off. Yeah, we'll just wait for the shaders to finish compiling. Okay. Let's walk around the level. Yeah, it could be. You could have some interesting things there, Joey. Yeah. I also made it so. Yeah, it used to be. Streamlabs just crashed, so apologies. Can you all hear me okay? Let me know if there's any issues there. Hopefully. I'll wait till I get confirmation before I do anything. I'm back. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, the Streamlabs just crashed completely. I don't know what happened. Okay, yeah, so I was saying before I got cut off rudely by technology. So originally in the map, you started in one place altogether. But I decided to experiment with the idea of splitting players up right at the start. So when you're walking around, you may be walking out on your own at the start, and then bump into people. And I felt that was more interesting from a scary point of view, because obviously you're alone, that's scary. But also then when you randomly bump into someone, that could be a bit discerning. You know, you don't know, you're uncertain what the hell's going on and who they are and if you can trust them. And likewise, if you spawn in with someone, because you can spawn in with a player with you, they could be, you could feel like almost build a bond straight away, which is quite interesting thing to have. So yeah, playing around with that sort of idea. But yeah, let me just walk around and show you the map. So if you're the mimic character, yeah, see, he's here now. You're look human, but you can tear your skin off and run around as a mimic and hunt people. But you're more squishy like that. So if the android catches you, you're kind of dead. But in a mimic form, you can hunt people and you can lay eggs to help you respawn. If you have an egg laid, you can respawn somewhere. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, we've got hack data terminals, and you've got little objective markers that tell you where to go. So let's go right there. Doors now aren't automatic. You have to walk up to them and push a button. And that was all designed because we needed a way to slow players down. Because players were too fast running around and things. So we wanted ways to slow them down. So everything that is interaction has a wait time on it. You can't just go for it. No. That one. No. God damn. Cool. So yeah, so everything's got like a little wait time on it. It's not instant. But it's just a way to slow people down. Otherwise you lose that tension. So to get through this door I need a security card. You'll find them all over the ship. They look like, not this one, there's definitely something here. Like this. So pick up a security card. And then go up to the door. And I can upgrade my security clearance. And doors then also add like trap value to them. Like you could easily get stuck behind a door while running away from the androids, and yeah, it could be interesting gameplay there. Here's the reactor room. And if I bring up my map, you'll see it's highlighted that I'm in the reactor room. Okay, green is current location. And obviously there's no other players, so I don't see anyone else. But yeah, we go find empty energy cell, so for example, and we find a spare server. There's one. And the objective markers will just update with you. So I can install the server blade. See, it takes a bit of time. So I made the system I made a generic thing that I could do to any object and make it work. So now we've got to turn this one on. Flipping switches. Another one. And this one. Okay, and there's one objective complete. Energy cell. Pick up the energy cell. So the android's walking around the ship somewhere right now. I don't know where. It could be anywhere. Fire blocks your path, so you can't walk through fire. It doesn't hurt you, but you can't walk through it. So again, a dynamic thing that stops your progress. You can put it out using fire extinguishers. I thought it would be bugged. It is. Okay, we've got to fix that one. We'll fix that today. That was the last one that I added, and I thought it was bugged. Yeah, so just making it slower, bringing the pace down, as you say, Iron. Yeah, and also like there's elements of this game that people really haven't seen too much of because we haven't got round to really showcasing it, and that's like the omen system, for example. So when you die, you can quit back to menu if you like, change, but when you die, you can stick around and haunt the ship. And they can't see you, they don't know you're there, but you can like lock doors and do things like that, break machines, cause trouble if you want, or help people if you like. You can do either. So you can be quite fun having the omen system set up placed there. But yeah, there's a whole thing here. We've got the medical area here. We've got hydroponics over here. I think this one's my favourite room. I quite like this room quite a lot. What's happened over here? Something wrong with the decal there. Right about that here. And then there's the shuttle to escape. This is where the android starts. He starts over here. So he starts on the opposite side of the map. So you at the start of the game, you've got a little bit of time before he reaches you. You're not going to get sort of stuck. But anyway, so this is what I need your guys' help with. I don't know if I've done streams setting up the lobbies and stuff, but I've done. They follow the same tutorials that we've done on the stream. We will be doing some more behind the scenes of how some of this stuff works and how we put it together. So yeah, keep an eye on those when they do come out. Oh yeah, I like this room too, like the sun blaring because your ship's flying towards the sun, and that's your timer. So yeah, you've got this sort of blaring room. This would be quite good to have that first person animation of the hand sort of blocking the sun, like when you first walk into it. It's quite fun. Yeah, so this is what we need help with. So the agent is an issue. Can I ask though, why do I want to put the server in the server blade and the same for the empty gas cans? What do I get from that? That's the objectives. You can't leave the ship unless you complete the objectives. So you complete the 3 objectives that you saw in the corner, and then you can leave. If you don't, you die. You lose. Yeah, this is taking the sun's taken a lot, and this is like post-processing as well to really get the effect of you being blinded by a sun. Like, there's a lot going on here. It's just a big flat circle. There's nothing else to it. It's a plane. And it's pretty simple. Yeah. So engineering. Yeah, there's all sorts of cool little areas. Right, so the agent. Let me bring up Notepad so I can make notes as well as give you some rundown of the issues I'm facing with the agent. There we go. Okay, so the big issue we have with the agent is that we want to do like the crew role makes sense. The mimic role makes sense. They both have quite good agency in it for what they're doing. But we're trying to do fantasy fulfillment. So when you're doing any sort of game, you think about what kind of fantasy you're trying to make the player feel. In this case, we're trying to fulfill the fantasy of the player acting as the corporate agent who is secretly the bad guy trying to screw everyone over. This is very classic in 80s sort of horror films, like sci-fi horror, like Alien, for example. You see like the doctors and agent and corporate people who are there to make a quick buck, not or do what's best in the company's interest, not what's best in the human interest. So that is the fantasy that we're doing. Okay. So the current plan, the current setup is that as the agent, you have full access to the whole ship. So you don't have to upgrade security. You can access every single door. Okay. And your win state is if you make sure no one leaves the ship but you. So, we can adjust what everything is, and we can make the narrative make sense around it too. So here are a few of the various options I've come up with, and I'm open to hearing some more adjustments. So the first one, hopefully this comes up clear on the screen. Maybe make it bigger. Yeah. Cool. So agent plans. Okay, so the number one. Oh, for God's sake. Let me zoom. Okay, so number one, we've got a few things we can fix. One we've got to fix is the win state. Like, do we want to change it? How we change it? What do we change it to? And I've got a few ways around that. Number two, it is their unique role abilities. Okay, and three, we are their alignment. Okay, more on that in a second. So currently, unique role abilities, and I like the idea of the agent having full access. That makes, I think, good sense. So full security access. Okay. So that's that one. The other roles, the thing we're gonna have potentially, and here brainstorm, is their vote, like their sus vote has more sway. Okay, so if they throw sus on someone, the bar will jump up a little bit faster and higher. So when they, if they can, the idea being is that their company property, the Android is also company property. Therefore, you have sort of a background access that you can sort of sway it. Okay. So there's that. Okay. The other one is that they have. Let me go to the win state and come up with different win states for you. Is that they win when everyone dies. So if the missions are, if the whole thing's a failure and no one survives and everyone dies, the agent wins. Okay, that is an interesting thing because the narrative around that could be that the agent is sent there to ensure no one survives, to hide all evidence. Okay, and there, I have also had the idea of making the android also be a synthetic. So they actually are like a robot with human skin, you know, and so they don't really care about living or dying. So that could be interesting sort of thing. Yeah. Then we've got they win when the mimic wins. So maybe their mission is to extract the mimic from the map. So they're actually working with the mimic to win the game. However, the mimic doesn't know who the agent is. So they're sort of blind partners. Okay. Put in blind partners. They don't know who each other really are. So the agent, this could lead to really chaotic things because the agent doesn't know who they want to win. The mimic doesn't know who they should allow to support them and get away with stuff. Yeah. Yeah, because the agent and mimic are, because if you, the idea, if the mimic, obviously you don't want to leave the ship with the mimic because you will lose. So if you find out who the mimic is, you can vote and get them out quicker. Okay. The agent is there, you want to get rid of because you know they're going to be against you in some capacity, which leads me to another thing that this will be a bonus thing. Maybe there is no agent. So maybe the chance of a player being chosen as an agent or synthetic is random. So in some games there'll be an agent, some games there won't. I don't particularly like this too much because I feel like it's too much unknown. But it's an option. It's an option. Yeah. The other win state is that they have unique objectives. So they win when they complete their unique objectives. So they have things that like gather evidence or gather samples, for example. The downside to that, though, I feel, is that could be too passive. Okay, because they're just running around doing their own thing, not working with other people. They're basically working on their own, which is like not really what you want to go for when you're building a social element around the game. So I'm not a big fan of this one, less so, you know. Yeah. Another thing, unique role abilities as well I had was sabotaging the objectives. So as objectives make progress, you can break the machine and make it go backwards. Okay. The other thing I had an idea for is they can complete certain objectives to unlock a gun from an armory, and then go on a killing spree. I don't like that too much because it turns it into too much of like a shooter element of it. But again, it's an option. Yeah. And if the android is synthetic as well, we could also have the option of them having like a stun, so they can stun players, and so they can't move. You know, yeah. Yeah, can be a few things to consider there. But I want to hear if you have any ideas or thoughts about what you think about these. So, because I've gone back and forth on this like mad. I don't know where I'm laying on it. Just remember the problems we're trying to solve is we want the agent to feel they have more control over the situation. They want to be more of an agent of chaos. They are there to make life difficult. They're there to make it more of an impact on the gameplay. That they have a direct impact on something. At the moment, it's too passive. Because at the moment they're just working as like a crew member and then trying to get votes out. Like it's too hard for them to win. So we're trying to balance out their win state somewhat. Could have multiple levels of goals. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Yeah, we could have. There is a point system at the end, so you do get scored based upon the win condition of the game. So you're looking at. You could do a thing like that. How many total players? There's 5. Definitely full access to the ship, yeah. And sabotage objectives. I do like the sabotage objectives thing because what that does, because everyone has the same objectives, and you'll see them update on the side. You'll see if some of them will just go backwards. They go boom, like make less progress. And if you are watching objectives and you've got an eye on people, you can kind of track down who's who and what they're doing, type thing. That's a thing to think about. Yeah. What if the agent was a rival corporation, so sabotaging in a different way? That would give him a reason to stay secret. Yeah, could do. By the way, the crew aren't part of the corporation. FYI, just to give you an idea. They're passengers essentially. It gives other players the opportunity to witness agent being naughty too. Yeah, that's another thing. Is that it gives the players an opportunity. Yeah, and it could be a thing that we could make an object in the game, like a wrench, for example. If they pick up a wrench, they can go up to a objective, break it up, undo it, or whatever, and cause problems. But that means if you see anyone holding a wrench, they could be using it for defensive means, or maybe they're using it for nefarious means, possibly. Okay, Joey. So, multi-level objective system. That'd be more difficult to do technically, based upon how we've made the objectives so far. But it's an idea. Let's put that in the list here. So, I'll put it underneath sabotaging objectives. Or actually, I'll add it on. Or what's a poisoning, basically, objectives. I guess it's kind of what it's like. The agent cannot be targeted by the android, maybe. That's interesting. Yeah, that could be interesting. But then, yeah, okay. So let's put that in maybe as an option. Perhaps the agent's goal could be set randomly per game. One game, the objective could be allow the mimic to escape. Another could be to make sure they got intel, etc., off the ship. Yeah, could do. Like you have the objective, then you have a secret mission, maybe a secret command from corporate, could be. Instead, they create their own mini android if they complete objectives. Maybe. Okay, I just imagine a little mini one that's running around like a little gremlin. The wrench can stun other players for 3 seconds. Could do. Yeah. The problem we want to avoid then with that is things like stun locking. You don't want to sit there just trolling someone. Yeah, no. I have to type everything in the American way because of coding things. So I'm so used to writing things in the American way. But yes, British way is that. Yes. Sorry. It would be funny or cool. Can't decide if the agent could control the lighting of the room. Yeah, that could be a thing. They'll have more control of the ship. More control over the ship. The downside to that would be because we've got other maps planned, and not all maps are ships. And obviously, we want as many of these sort of role abilities to transfer over smoothly to the other maps. So, yeah. But yeah, I think ultimately this is going to the one role that's going to change the most during development and during the demo. The plan is to get the demo out soon, by the way. So for free, you can play the game and test it and things like that. So that's the idea, is that you'll be able to play the map and then help us develop it to release. And there's other obviously things you don't get that are in the full game, but you'll be able to play the map that you just saw, for example. So it is something that may develop over time. I fully see that being sort of yeah. How do players fight back against the agents setting the android on him? Essentially, yeah. And then it comes to the question: do we want the crew members, to care about the android? Is he just an agent chaos that is just there like a force of nature, or do we want the players to actively want to try and get the agent out? They definitely want to get the mimic out, but do you want them to also vote out the agent as well? In the event they work out who he is, then what? I mean, yeah, that's the thing. If they work out who he is, I mean, he's there to cause trouble. Okay. So it could be a case if we go with the idea that he wants to make sure no one survives, everyone should be dying. Obviously, you don't want that person around causing problems. So you've got this sort of idea of like maybe setting an android on him, trying to find him out there. But then that leads into an issue where at the end, it could be quite difficult to get him targeted by the android and stopped by the android. It could be a bit too mental at the end there from happening. Yeah, the crew will want to need to be able to take him out of action somehow. Yeah. And the Mimic will want to get rid of him too. The Mimic can go on the hunt and attack them. So they're going to want to get rid of him because they want to leave the ship. So yeah, could be a thing. But yeah, that's where we're at. Or we can forego the entire agent role entirely and just have crews and mimics. But I kind of like the idea of having this third role, which is the chaotic one. Um, and it also has that fancy fulfillment that you see in those sort of 80s sort of horror films where you've got the one person working not with the enemy, but with different interests aligned, you know. And I think that might be a good thing to make a note of here is um, a key. I think a key thing to think about is they have different interests, and I think that's going to be a key thing to sort of cement into our heads. I think if we're going for that fancy fulfillment type thing, um, to everyone else, it's all about survival, but for them, it's something more. There's something else to it. Yeah, they've got an ulterior motive. They've got a yeah. Third role seems like it just needs to be crew plus, like someone who that wins by getting away on their own, making sure the others don't escape. I mean, that's what they are currently. That's what the agent does currently, and we can keep that as it is. Like we can keep that as the win state. Um, escapes alone. Yeah. You know, it could be just that. We could also have the ability that they could leave. No, that it would be too specific. I'm thinking they could leave the map early as well. So like they could launch the ship early because they've got an override code or whatever. Um, but that won't work for the other maps we've got planned because it'd be too specific. Yeah, so I think like there is a combination of all these things somewhere that makes an interesting role to have. How is the mimic objective different from the agent? The mimic just has to leave. They're interested in survival. They want to leave. The crew is all about survival. They want to leave, but the crew can't survive if they leave with the mimic. So, the crew and mimic are both got survival interests in mind. The agent or synthetic doesn't. They have their priorities are different. Okay. Or priorities should be different anyway. And it should be like if we were to look at other characters, like again, inspiration. Okay, so let's go to. Hang on, let me bring this up. So you got this character, for example. Like I imagine it's sort of like this guy. So this guy wanted someone to be infected with the alien and things like that in Aliens. This is, by the way. If you haven't seen this film, make sure you do. But he's a junior executive trying to go up in the ranks. Okay, so that was his motivation, is that if he could play nice with the corporation back home, he would go up and get more power, respect. I don't know, but that's something we could do there too. In the first Alien, you've got Ash, who is an android, is synthetic, and his mission was to ensure to bring back the specimen, bring back the alien specimen. Okay. So it's detrimental to everyone else's thing. Everyone else wants to survive. They want to do something different. And in his case, he's not human, so he didn't really care. He didn't have that sort of. It was just following orders, following commands. So that's why the synthetic idea comes along quite nicely. It could be quite interesting to do. And that was a good twist in the film, is that you didn't know he was synthetic. Can the agent role be to infect other players with the mimic synthetic virus? I mean, can do, but it kind of becomes to the point of okay, uh, like what does that change about the gameplay? Like it just changes the objective to win, okay, but they are just in a moment-to-moment gameplay. What they're doing is just running around to all the other players and just stabbing them with a needle, um, which could be a bit too easy and a bit too meh. And then it comes to the point at the end, like, do they still want to leave on their own or leave others or things like I don't think they can leave on their own. I think that's too difficult. I think that is too hard for them to try and achieve. I think you want people to be dead because of collateral, not like it should be easy, not as it should be too hard to survive. Like you want some sometimes you want to survive most of the time by the end. Okay, so yeah, that's where we're at. Any other ideas? Let me have a think. And we would have to solve it, obviously. But I just want to hear any other ideas that you may have or thoughts that you think would be quite good. What about agent influencing the egg? If found, so it increases the mimic's chance of respawn overall survival. Not sure if egg is untouchable. Can do, but the mimic may go the whole game without ever laying an egg. They could technically do it. Would there be any scanners or any detection for the mimic, or just suspicious activity? Suspicious activity, and also, so the mimic has a meter on them. Let me show you. So as the mimic, you have your stamina bar, but underneath that is a little another bar, and that's slowly depleting. And if it gets empty, you automatically be forced into your mimic form. So you will eventually burst into your mimic form. You need to get out and not do that. So yeah, that will slowly deplete. I don't think it's working at the moment. It's not going down, but that will slowly deplete, and you'll eventually burst. And then you can go back to human form. You have to go around, hunt corpses and eat people and things like that to build your energy back up, and then you can transform back to human form. So there's no scanners necessarily like that. And they can like see people through the thing. Yeah. The agent and mimics sound like they operate on the same team. Yeah, I mean that's why we come up with the idea maybe they win when they win together. So like the imposters team and you have the crew team in Among Us is sort of like that. It's just he will have that in mind. Oh, I hear something. Oh, there he is. Oh, I made him faster as well. Oh, you know, he's got stuck behind the door. Oh my god. And he's going to throw me through the air. Oh, trapped. Ah, bollocks. Yeah, he's a lot faster. He wanted to be more of a threat. Obviously, got no sound effects for him yet. Oh, I've lost look controls. Good. Oh, he's killed me. That'll have to tweak, but yeah. What happens when we meet the android? He does that. He grabs you, throws you around the room, and then if you run out of health, it'll pop your head, tear you in half, that sort of thing. I've told it to stop, but don't know what's happening there. Yeah, so all the speed stuff we're tweaking. That's not a problem. But yeah, I like the idea of the agent and mimic working together. And if I was to do that, I'd make it so the agent was the synthetic sort of approach. So they are technically not. They don't care about survival in the strictest sense. They care about that. Um, they are there to collect data about the mimic or whatever. But then it goes through, okay, in the moment to moment gameplay of the game, what do they do then? What are their objectives are? And it could be that they win when the mimic wins. We have that one. So if I have that as bold. Role abilities, I think that's going to be a given. We give them the full security access. But then as a more of the character of different interests, what can we do with that? And it could be the case then, okay, well, they want to support the mimic, not necessarily um yeah, well, they want to support the mimic, not focus on causing too much trouble. So for example, if they had sabotaging objectives, that makes no sense because you still want to leave the ship. So that wouldn't line up with that. So having sabotaging objectives wouldn't line up with when you win mimic wins, because you want to you want to complete the objectives. Like this one would only make sense if you want to make sure everyone dies. Yeah. I mean, unlocking a gun from armory could be a fun thing to do. He'll need to somehow sabotage the crew themselves in that case. I don't think they're looking at sabotaging. It's more, I don't know. I think it'd be more of a case of, oh, I don't know. If the, I don't know. Be able to lock room, block paths. Yeah, yeah. Could do that. We have got that thing in there. Lock doors, for example, block paths, etc. If he wants the mimic to escape, he needs to stop the crew as they are trying to stop the mimic. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I guess so. It gets to the point though at the end. Then, would it be too? Do you think it'll be too hard for the crew to win because there's two fundamentally quite powerful characters that could win? I just don't understand why he would want the mimic to escape. So the mimic is like it's not necessarily an alien. It's an experiment, a test experiment with alien DNA. So it is like the company property. It's sort of like how they do with aliens and things. It's hard to come up with stuff that doesn't end up with just add a second mimic. Yeah. But yeah, this is all I've been racking my brain around. Because I like the fantasy of it, but is the fantasy of it too difficult? You know. I mean, we could also do a thing when they have maybe maybe unique objectives. So maybe their objective is to collect samples and things like that. And what was I thinking? My brain went completely blank then. The gun could be interesting. Only 2 charges, maybe. Yeah, maybe. It wouldn't make sense in the map and the narrative of the maps that you're going to have. The maps, all the maps have in common is that you're trying to escape. So you want to you can trap him, but yeah. Kezi, off topic. I'm going for my UE instructor cert. Any tips? Yeah, study Bloom's taxonomy. If you don't know what that is, it's spelled like this. Design your objectives, tasks, and feedback on that around Bloom's taxonomy. It'll make you a better teacher. And as part of that as well is being sure that you are reflecting on and getting people to participate when you come to do the classes. Yeah. Like, I think if Mimic dies, what happens if the agent survives with the crew? Is that escape alone a different exit for the agent? Yeah, I mean that comes that rate. A good question. If the Mimic is dead by the time you all successfully survive, what does that mean? Yeah. I mean, maybe their win condition is the same as the. I mean, also we can keep it simple as well. Maybe the win state is they win when the crew leave with the Mimic. Okay, the crew win when they leave without the Mimic amongst them. Mimic can also change their appearance to other players, by the way, as well. And you don't know if other players have died. So if when you're leaving, you have no idea if people are still with you or what's going on. So keeping it simple, like the win condition is the same as anything else. It's just that if you're the with Mimic, you win as well. Yeah, you've walked away with the thing. Yeah, Johnny, that's what we were saying. Mentioned that earlier about the idea of maybe there's not always an agent, and their goal is to just make sure everyone dies, just add more chaos to it. But it's randomly chance. I have thought about that as an option as well, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think would be good. Yeah, you have no idea if you have the agent role or not. It's a random chance it could appear. Maybe like 50-50 chance it'll appear. Which could add some interesting things because then you're not looking for someone. That's all right. That's right, Johnny. Yeah, it could increase paranoia. Yeah, so maybe they win when the crew leave the Mimic. Not always active. Okay. 50% chance, for example, that there'll be an agent. 50% chance there won't be. And it could be as simple as just leaving it like that and just having them have like more passive stuff they can do, like full security access. Maybe increasing their sus vote has more sway on the Android, maybe. As a thing. So when they point out people, the Android could take on a bigger threat, maybe, from that. Can the agent know who the Mimic is? I mean, I don't currently know. But if they were to win with the Mimic, if they leave with the Mimic, I think they should know, shouldn't they? They should know who the Mimic is. And if they're synthetic, we could do a thing like, okay, they have a special implant that allows them to detect who the mimic is. Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, yeah. Werewolf. Yeah, that's right. Neutral roles, the Tanner. There's loads of variations of that as well, so you can have different roles as well. Yeah, Joey. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like they leave the mimic in place. Because if a stretch goal for the ending of the map is to have like unique animation at the end. So if you're aboard the ship and you take off, there's a cutscene. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a cutscene at the end where everyone's inside the ship, and then one of them will just transform into the mimic and kill them, or you get away scot free. And if you're the agent, the agent could be one that walks up to the pilot and pilots the ship, and they lock the door behind them to capture the mimic behind them. So that the shuttle is the prison for the mimic. But that's a big animation work. That depends on so many factors, mostly funding wise. So that could be a cool thing to end with, like a small little ident at the end there. Or maybe they can know them before other players like that. Yeah, yeah. Or maybe they have. Maybe they don't know the mimic directly. Maybe the mimic appears on the tablet, like their map. So it lights up a room that they're in. Maybe. But then the mimic will want to know who the agent is as well, wouldn't they? Or maybe not. Maybe the mimic won't know. I think it'd be more interesting if the mimic doesn't know. Oh yeah, Johnny, that's all fixed. Yeah, that's all gone. It's all smooth now. Yeah, I think one-way information is more interesting than two-way information. Yeah, proximity chat. Proximity chat is so you can talk to people down next to you with your headset or microphone. But you can't hear people from across the map. You can only do it next to you. Yeah, it does make it scarier. Yeah. There's other little touches I've made as well. I don't think it's activated, but again, thinking about when players don't talk as much with proximity chat or don't talk at all, that how they know who they're looking at. With Among Us, it's easy because everyone's got a color. You just it's a red guy, a pink guy, whatever. But here, no, everyone looks like a realistic human. So what I've done is, so when you are looking at someone, you'll see the name or the name of like who they're appearing as, you know. So if you see two players looking the same, you'll see the two usernames of that you can work out who's not there, and who is what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I do like the idea of it not always being active because that's quite interesting because players then will go in not knowing what's going on. And also, from a marketing point of view as well, it gets to the point where players are playing, it's more exciting when they get the agent roles. Like, oh, I've got it. Like, I've got an excitement thing. I can do something cool. Yeah, you know, so. Um, is highlighted, maybe. You know, or maybe like they have to complete an objective first to enable this. Maybe that could be a thing. So maybe they like access a certain computer terminal. And yeah, get that maybe. I don't know. Sort of like how the snitch roll works in Among Us type thing, where if you complete your objectives, you unlock the ability to know who's who. So maybe complete special objective to see who Mimic is. Maybe. Could you utilize the tablet to have EMP charges that disable the Android so it can't kill the asset? You could do, yeah. But if we combine that with the idea that they have increased or remote voting access, so maybe everyone else they have to be in line of sight, but maybe he doesn't. He can do it remotely from anywhere. And if he sees that the agent, or actually, increased, because then he cannot. You don't disable the Android because yes, that stops them from attacking the Mimic, but also stops them from attacking the crew, and you want them to attack the crew. So maybe rather than doing that, you can shift the blame on someone else. So if you see someone get the Mimic, you can on the protector, can you see other players? You can see life signs. You can see what room they're in. You can't see who's in what room. Another ability they could have as well, they could do a thing where they can control what room the Android goes to. Control which rooms the Android heads to. Maybe. That could be a thing. That could be quite cool. Yeah. And you could, and then a defense to that is I'm just checking my map or whatever. But if you're controlling which room the Android goes into, maybe that you do that instead of the extra sus. So, you know, rather than the extra, the double vote essentially, rather than having a double vote, you can control where the Android heads to. Maybe bring up the tablet and you can click on a room, and the Android will go to that room. Maybe. If he hasn't got currently a target. If he's chasing someone, we don't want them to just abandon it completely. Or do we? I don't know. But that's a thing to think about. You like that? Yeah, I think I like that too. I like the idea of having some control of the Android. The Android's your weapon. The Android is your gun. Yeah, so rather than having the gun from the armory, you have this Android instead at your disposal. And maybe you have like sort of remote control. But the Android doesn't know who you are. So if you accidentally send him to the room that you're in, or you come across his path, he will still kill you. So it's still a threat to you. But you have sort of like special access. You can access from behind the scenes and control him. That could be quite cool. And what, control the Android directly? Can do. It kind of, I mean, I mean, you could do. I mean, all these are like the thing I like about this though is that all these ideas are really good because because there are plans in the game and we've started putting them in there. There are in custom games like flip switches that you can turn off and on to modify the game. So if you wanted to, we could add things like extra roles or extra abilities for people that can do and can't do things. Like just add them on. You can do whatever you like. And so you could do a thing where the player can control an android. I think what he's saying, Kashan, is that maybe you have the android, that you're standing still while you're controlling the android. I think that's what he meant. But I think that might be again a bit too powerful. Maybe you want. I think I like the idea of sending them to certain areas for more so than anywhere. Like you have a remote ping, basically. You can ping a room on your tablet, and he'll go to that room. So that could be a thing to do. Just need to make it. Just need to make it. Okay, well, let's do some basic stuff in here. We can do some stuff in here. So not always active stuff. That's pretty simple. We can easily do that. So the way that's calculated is via my game mode. So if I go to my game mode and go to there, there's a moment where it assigns the roles. Still need to do a lot of tidying up of this code, but yeah, getting there. So yeah, if I go to roles, assign roles. So the assignment of the roles works like this. It happens at the start of the game, obviously. So we get all the players and we shuffle them up, and we say how many mimics we're expecting. Because I made it so you can customize how many mimics you have, how many agents you have, how many crew you have, so we can adjust it. But we go through as many, and we take a random one and set it to the role of mimic, and go through that. Remove it from the available controllers. And the next one, it goes to the number of agents, and that will go through and do that as well. So one thing I could do to easily make this work is basically have a boolean in here to determine whether or not it should do it. So we could do a branch, and we'll put that in there. If it's true, do that. If it's false, do that. And the condition will be weighted random bool. I'll leave it at 0.5 for now, but chance of agent will now be 50%. Could your agent have access to CCTV cameras? They can see everyone. I mean, they can do, but I don't know what that would do for information-wise, because in, like, Among Us, for example, the CCTV cameras, you're trying to catch someone murdering or trying to know where people are. You're trying to, like, build an MO for people, but that's not the case in this one. You're not trying to catch a murderer. You're trying to survive. So it's I think it'd be a bit of we could develop it, but I don't think anyone would ever find a use for it. There you go. So I've got a random chance of it spawning an agent at the start of the game. Control which rooms the android heads to. So for that to work with the tablet, we need it. At the moment, it's quite passive. The tablet, like you hit tab and it comes up. We want to be able to not just look around with the tablet open. We want to be able to interact with it, maybe. So if I want to do that, I need to take off moving, because I can still move with it on. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, we can change that 50% to something later. That's not a problem. That can be balanced out. So I think with the tablet open, we have to either stand still, won't we? We'll have to have that problem of standing still. It's just not realistic in the sense that if you've got a tablet open in your hand, you're not going to stand still with it on. You're going to walk around with it still, you know. Just in 1 minute. Oh, I need the security key. I hear him. Oh, he didn't see me. Yes, there will be playtests. Tonight was going to be one, but long story. Yeah, tonight was going to be one. So hopefully next week we'll do one. Especially if I can implement some agent changes or gameplay little tweaks and fixes. Yeah, some slight UI changes there have been, yeah, little tweaks and adjustments. So I desperately want to get this game done. The problem is that, with especially multiplayer games, you can release them once, really, and that's it. You may get lucky with a resurgence, but it's very rare. Oh, shit. Oh, crap. Ah! They're coming. Okay. I could hear him right behind me all the whole fucking time. Okay. Yeah, you're not. Gets the heart racing. I will be doing some animation as well for him. So if you do that, what I just did, and run into an event, he will. Like you can turn back and you see him like reaching down trying to grab you. So you have to make sure you go into the vent. Yeah, he's fast. I did make him faster, so I might. Oh my god, he's coming! Oh my god, hide! Oh no, he saw me. No, he saw me. I think he found me because I haven't finished putting the AI stuff in, and when he loses sight of you, he meant to clear his threat away from his threat table. We'll have to do that. Yeah. I'm wondering why the look controls aren't coming back. Hold on. Look input. If montage is playing, it's false. Look input is false. That should be hitting it. Don't know why that's not. So when he's dropping me, when he threw me on the floor, I lost look input. So set ignore look at input. New look input. If true, look input is this wording of this function is so annoying. New look input true means if true, look input is ignored. So you see me, yeah, backwards. If false, input is not ignored. So I don't know why it's doing that. It basically says like if we're playing any montage, ignore the look input. Would multiple androids work, but only one android consciousness? That would change which body it is inhabiting. Could I mean maybe? I mean you could also make it so again. A thing I thought about is maybe the agent has the ability to turn on an android. Add more to it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I think sorry, someone else wrote about maybe map input keys when the tablet's open, so you can quickly cycle through a selection of rooms. I mean, possibly. I think that'd be quite difficult to ultimately achieve in a concise way, especially when you go to gamepad, because we are going to put this on the PS5 and Xbox as well. So yeah, we got to think about that too. Again, one of those dip switches would be to add an extra android to the game as well. Also, why didn't this fire off when it should have done? That broke, didn't it? Let's fix that. So this works with this server call happening here. It should be the fine. Client interacts with it. I think that's plug that in. That's all. Yeah. Turning an android, otherwise chases you. Okay, yeah, maybe. One android's pretty intense already. Yeah, it's interacting. I'll go there. That's it. I just forgot to plug all that in. That's all. I do like the idea of picking a room. It's just trying to think of how to make it look normal. Bring up a tablet with the map on it. Thinking. Yeah, someone else said about possibly controlling Android directly. Could be something to interact with in the room or deploy in the room like a signal. I mean, yeah, you could do, but then you're in the room that you've just told it to go to, which is problematic. Simple one-click button, it sets around the room. Random is again dangerous because it could pick the room that you're in, and also you want to use it as a strategic measure to sort of like send the android there. And we'll give it a cooldown as well, so you can't just control the android like micromanage it, like a unit in RTS. Maybe it'll just have to be that you bring it up. You can move around and look around the tablet and click on things. It'd be quite then interesting to think of something the crew may want to do with that option, be able to click on the tablet. So if someone's standing still with it, it's not completely weird. They are trying to do something on it. Possibly. I mean, let's try the tablet setup of showing a tablet. Forgot where I put this thing now. It might be on the character. So, I'll show the context animation scene that we're developing. So this is a plugin you can enable inside of Unreal to help you do two-person animation things to help do sync them up better. So this is what the Android is doing to you when he's holding you. I need to make him stretch his arm out further though. Edit the animation of that slightly. And there'll be variations of him doing kill shots on you as well, like popping your head and things. Where was we going? Oh yeah, character. Crew base. Show map. What was that plugin? So there's a plugin you can use. I'm gonna make some videos on it, and you can look up the people who have already done videos on it. Contextual animation. It's that combined with warp and motion. To do stuff. You lose this animated in first person point of view. It would be cool if you could see it from another angle. You'll see the kill shots in another angle. You'll get the glory kills in an extra camera. But yeah, the first person. We also wanted the first person to be like up close, intensity, like in your face, like right there. To be extra like claustrophobic on you. Yes, set visibility, open tablet. So we need to set so yeah, do walk slower with the tablet, but maybe if I do movement modified to 0, so you can't move at all. And then on here we need to set yes, client side only. So we get the player controller and we set show mouse cursor. The issue with this as well, though, is that the widget is on the object. Becomes a problem. It's the map, isn't it? I'm going to just rename this one. Tablet. Need a widget interaction widget component. We'll put on debug for this. We'll turn the interaction as well to be turn the debug of that off as well. So let me see what goes there. Yeah, so he's like engineering with all the dead robots, or like broken ones. Yeah, so now I've got the mouse, I can look around. I've got the table look input, but I don't want to be able to click on these things. Yeah, okay. So if I go to that UI, gameplay, I've forgotten where these things are. No. Been like a year since I looked at the map, mini map thing. Let me just look at it. Mini. More map. There you go. Map. Okay, map for Icarus there. So each one of these is like their own little. So the way this works, by the way, is that we've got every one of these rooms is its own little widget. Okay, and they've been assigned a room name, and there's room volumes in the map, and they're linked into that room volume to determine if there's anyone inside of it. And then I'll reposition them on here based upon the position X and Y. Same with all these doors. All these doors have got their own little things on it to update and indicate what the hell's going on as you unlock and lock doors. How do we go with the gamepad? I think you just have to move just the cursor around the gamepad. I think that'll be the gamepad cursor movement. I think it'll have to be that, especially because you're going to deal with maps of like different like sizes. They're not all going to be like this and all not as easily lined out. That's pretty much scaled. It was the baseline for where we started with. Baseline. Yeah. Yeah, so we baselined it around scaled and expanded and added extra routes and things and extra rooms and everything's going on in it. But yeah. So let's edit the map room widget. So this is not a button, so we need to make it a button. So we'll wrap with a button. Get rid of all the padding. Like that. And put that padding there too. How did I create that environment? What the actual map or the actual like level or the map you're talking about? Like this. I made this in Illustrator. And what I did was I took a camera way above the map, way above the level, orthographic view, took a screenshot of it and used it as a trace around the shapes in Illustrator. Yeah, button will just hide the background color. Don't want that. And what we'll do is that when this button is clicked on, we'll go to on clicked here. And right now, just make it print string the room name. Like that. And I'll change the color of it. I'll change it to like red or something. So that looks like it should look, okay? And let's see if that exactly as it should. If not, I haven't done much more on it, so yeah, I don't think they have to pick up those things. It's a weird setup because it's an actor on as a child actor or something. Also, I've got just noticed there's a second one now. I think it's the original one. I changed this. You roll this mimic, leave the lobby. Yeah. Yeah, so working out how. So widget interaction here, tracing with visibility, enable hit tracing, interaction source, world. World location. Oh no, we want mouse. Sorry, that's why. Okay, let's see if that alone does something. Yeah, so I'm not too sure what this widget interaction is going to be doing. Maybe I'll just attach it to the camera. Yeah, not too sure. Let me also disable look input as well. Ignore look input. Set that to true as well. Might as well put this on here so we turn it off. Oh, should also actually put that at the start here. Oh, I need to reorganize this. Bit of a mess. Needs to go here. Man, I don't think that would have made any difference. World with interaction has issues with button clicks. In my overwrote mouse click event in user widget itself. Okay. Yeah, good night, Kishan. Thanks for joining us. Oh wait, my looking input's still going. How's it going? Something else to look at. Still not picking up anything. Let me also, if I go to, oh no, wait, on click, it would see that still. Maybe on hovered we'll also do a thing for that as well. Print string that. Yeah. Okay, why was I still looking around? I shouldn't be looking around at all. If true, look at it, it's ignored. But it wasn't, because I could still move around. Oh, no way. It's because of what I did earlier. With this set look input in order, this is happening only if we have the montage is not playing, it sets it back to false. That's overwriting what I had set up. So I need to make that only occur when I haven't got the map open either. Effort. Okay. Oh, probably. Where am I? How can I do this? I need to know. I'll tell you what. I'll just use a set if the mouse cursor is showing. We'll use that. So if we're playing a montage, I only want to do that if our mouse cursor is not showing. Yeah. Get to show mouse cursor. And only do that if it's false. Right, that should stop us from looking around. There you go. Right, but we just need to make it so we can click on these things. But I don't know why or how that's working. I mean, who was saying, Il Jezo, you had issues with button clicks with the widget interaction. Ooh, okay. It could also be that it doesn't have. If I go to the tablet itself, it could well be that the tablet I'll set collision off for the widget part. So go widget here, and collision preset custom. Yeah, visibility trace. Set a block there, like that. Maybe that will be it. Let's take a look. No. I don't even know if the widget interaction thing's working. Because you should be seeing a debug, but I don't see anything happening. Well, I think that's gonna be one for me to work on over the weekend, I think. But yeah, so thank you everyone for brainstorming with me about the agent synthetic things. By the way, do you think there should be a synthetic or an agent? I think a synthetic makes the most sense and it's more interesting. It doesn't change much. You still look human, but we could do something fun like your blood is not red, for example. You could have, well, alien have white blood. We could do something like that, or we could do like black, like oil type thing. I don't know. Yeah, it's sci-fi. Yeah. Thanks. I just need an afro, and I'll be more like it. Yeah. By the way, as you see, lighting setup is a little bit better now. I've got a dimmer for my LED. All this time I didn't realize I can buy a dimmer from Amazon. It was like a little like £5 thing. You just plug into the power and you can dim it down. So now it's not as bright. I can have it on. It looks great. I like the look of it a lot better. And it's hard to tell, but I've got a new Lego set over there. It's the Dungeons and Dragons one, and I finished it the other day. It's hard to tell. You can't really see it in the camera too much, but yeah, it's there. And you can see the dragon on top of the Ghostbusters car. So yeah, looking pretty good there. You finished your Lego kit. Yeah. I moved stuff around as well. So I put my Bowser down. I put some like my Nez up here. I got my deco tree up there, but I want to bring it down. But it's massive and it takes up so much space. So don't know about that one. Got to figure that one out. Looking for solutions to that. But yeah, this office is filled with Lego. I need to do a cull, really. I need to like take some of it out, but it's like my babies. But I think I'm gonna have to stop getting Lego for birthdays and Christmases. Yeah. One thing we haven't done for a while, I thought I might check in. Is guess the game. Don't know what guess the game is. It's this website where you get a screenshot. You got to guess what kind of game what game it's from. And I can tell you right now, like today's one, that is an N64 game. That's either going to be Banjo-Kazooie or Donkey Kong 64. I'll hazard a guess. Actually, Banjo-Tooie. I think these are the buildings from the Jinjo village. So I'm going to go Banjo-Tooie. Smashed it. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. What were the images going to show you? Oh, yeah, we'll go from that. Yeah. Definitely that. Yeah. No, not a problem at all. Next game, or previous game. So looking at the graphics of it, I think we're looking at a PS2, PS3 game, maybe. Or that era, you know. Like, I would say Metal Gear, but I don't remember anything like this in Metal Gear. Like Metal Gear 2 is on the oil rig, but I don't recall any of this in there. But I'll give it a shot. Give it a shot. No. We've got a bit of UI now. 94%, so good game. No, a bit more lower res here. I'm trying to recognize that font. Who was that? 94%. Let's go for GTA 4. Oh, I have to do the whole thing, do I? Auto 4. No. Oh God, what? Oh, Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk game. Which one? No, ain't got a clue. Underground 2. So it's Tony. Yeah, it's Tony Hawk game. God knows which one it is though. Alcatraz. Oh, that'd be Tony Hawk 3, isn't it? Pro Skater 3. Oh, it must be 4 then. Pro Skater 4. Got it. Yay! Let's see the next one. Oh my God. Okay. Let me zoom in for you guys so you can see what I'm looking at. So we got some hieroglyphs over here. We got some interesting sort of lighting setup over here too. Looks like it's fairly high res. We'll go for, I mean, Egypt. What game is it? I mean, Tomb Raider game set in Egypt, but I'm not too sure about that. So let's put a shot in for Tomb Raider. Sure. Trying to work out if it's the same sort of like, because it goes yellow when you get it as a same franchise. So definitely higher res than most things. 88% as well, so quite a good game. Prince of Persia, maybe. Let's try Prince. I think I'm a bit too high res for that though, actually. I was saying it's not that high res, but I know the detail on that toe is pretty good. So it's got. I reckon it's got to be a fairly more recent one. Talos Principle. Yeah, we'll try Talos Principle. We'll try 2. Oh, well done, Iron. Well done. That's all an eye on that one. So these cars looking fairly low res. Is that UI sort of element there? Don't know. I'm gonna guess the game black. No. 79%. That's pretty good. Oh, ooh. These graphics aren't again, I think it's like 360 sort of era. What do you think? 360? Oh, that looks pretty. Ah, that's on the back of the character. What characters have this on their back? So a rappel thing or engine thing. I don't know. Some basic UI. So we've got like this slanted UI. So maybe a sci-fi-esque sort of game. Yeah, I recognise that crosshair too. I can't think of it though. Oh yeah, well done. Yep, Lost Planet. 3. Ah, same. Sorry, it's right game, different. Right franchise. Which one though? 360. So it wasn't Lost Planet 2. I don't think it was the first one. That's 3. 3's a snow one. Maybe it's the spin-off one. Extreme Condition. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, why don't we back there? Done that one. Done that one. Oh, we've got a new game. That's why. There's a new game. Yeah. Let's go to a new game. Oh wait, it hasn't updated. Let's go back to guess the game. I've done that one, mate. Right, this is usually you can go see the whole lot. I don't know. Ooh, pretty. New York? Maybe Spider-Man? Do you think New York? I mean, it's always New York, isn't it? We'll try Spider-Man. Probably Spider-Man 2. So it is okay, Spider-Man. I think there's different Spider-Man games. What is it actually called? Marvel Spider-Man? So that's unfair. Yeah, okay. It was Spider-Man 2. Ooh. I have no idea. Some stylized thing going on here. I have no idea what to even guess. I'm just gonna skip it to the next one. Who is this? Okay, so it's a drive like a gear shifter. Is it like a VR game? Does it expect you to die? No. PS5 and PC. Which made me think it's a VR thing. Maybe it's on PS5 VR. But no, maybe not. The hell is this? Granny game? What the hell's a granny game? I ain't got a clue. Pacific Drive. Okay. Sure. This looks familiar to me. Does it look familiar to anyone else? I can't think right though. Let's skip ahead. 84%. Is it a Castlevania some mess type thing? Castlevania. I have no idea which one though. Not a big Castlevania person. If I just guess one of them, it'll tell me if it's the right thing. No. Okay, it was on everything. I ain't got a clue. Anyone? Guesses? Anyone have a guess what the hell this is? It looks like a Castlevania type game, but it's not Castlevania. Maybe it's one of those spin-off ones that made by the maker of it, but I don't know what they're called. Yeah, Metroidvania. The hell is that? Oh, wait. This isn't Dead Cells, is it? No. I have no idea. Any ideas? I don't recognize the character or the sort of style. Yeah, no. The hell is this? Got lances for arms and head. I'm going to type in a name like Lance and see what comes up. Heroes of the Lance. Nope. Blasphemous 2. Never heard of it. Sure, it's a great game. I like Metroidvanias. What seaweed is that? I can't tell. So why is it on the there? Skip that one. Like I would have thought maybe Last of Us, but the Metacritic score is too low for Last of Us. I would have been higher, so it's not that. Is that a Nazi? No. Be a Nazi. Bull Lance. Let's try Wolfenstein. Let's try the new Colossus. No. I ain't got a clue. Medal of Honor, maybe. But what was the last Medal of Honor? Because this is obviously a newish looking game. What was the newest one? There's so many of them. Well, no, it's not a Medal of Honor game. Arthur Kinsley, 2021. Okay, so it's not as new as I thought it'd be. Metro? No. Sledgehammer. Oh, Call of Duty. This would be World War II. Ah, Vanguard. Damn it. Never mind. Anyway, we'll end it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me and keeping me company while and give me some your feedback and suggestions. It's really helped. I definitely think we got a direction to go into now. We will be doing a play test with people, so please do subscribe to the Patreon to support us, support the channel, and support the development of Mimic. It's your support that's there is helping us put this game together and get things in place. So thank you so much, everyone over there already donating. That thank you so much. If you are over on Patreon, look forward to the rest of the board game series coming out. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time. Should be back for podcast next week. We'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Bye, everyone. Take care.